Boss, we learned out who the mole is. It's polyamorous Tony. There, ref fuck. I want him dead. I want his wife dead. I want his wife dead. I want his wife dead. I want his wife.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, BBs. It is too early.
It sure is.
Welcome to the first, best, and only morning show in existence. I'm Anthony Carboni.
And I'm Saige Ryan.
Never in my dreams.
Yeah?
I mean, I know I said Spelljammer. I've been saying Spelljammer for years. But never in my wildest imagination did I think really Spelljammer.
No?
No.
Oh, I knew.
I think that's where we are different. I was so like Spelljammer in my deepest, darkest little seed of my heart. I was like, but they'll never do it. And you were like, it's probably not Spelljammer, but I think you deep down knew like they're probably gonna do.
I'd like to be very
Spelljammer.
clear. What I said was, I didn't think it was coming in this announcement.
Right.
I work in Dungeons and Dragons. I'm not surprised it's Spelljammer. We'll just say that.
Okay.
But what I did say was because of the April 1st like Goofs announcement, I thought they would wait a little longer.
Yeah. I didn't think it would be Spelljammer.
Yeah.
That's all. And it is. It's Spelljammer.
Well, then let's, I guess, jump right into the D&D Direct here.
I mean, look, we got a lot to get through today, and there was a lot just in the D&D Direct alone. So, yeah, I think, listen, everybody put on your fucking business socks. Okay, BBs?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a business day, and we got business to do. Put on those weirdly thin black dress socks with the yellow toes. Those weird ones that dads wear.
Yes.
And pull all the way up to your calf, because we're doing some business today.
Now, I did see someone ask before we got started, and Ahmad answered it in summary of what Spelljammer is. So, Spelljammer is a adventure book that was previously released for other editions of Dungeons & Dragons. It did not exist for 5e. The people have been requesting the opportunity to play on 5th edition. Now, it is pirates in space. You can do something that's just more piratey, or you can do something that's just more spacey from the modules themselves, but that's the overall summary of it. We know that in Spelljammer, there are 6 new playable races. I only had 5 fingers up. One more.
There are 6 new playable races. Welcome to Elden Ring. Yeah, these were playable classes that were announced when they were doing the UA content for it. And so we saw some of it, including everybody's favorite, the Ooze, play as some space jelly. Would you like to be a sentient jelly? You can.
Which are plasmoids.
Plasmoids.
The races are astral elves. These are space elves with starlight eyes. Auto gnomes, gnomish automatons.
I fucking love an auto gnome.
Hadazi, which are flying monkeys. Gifts, which are hippo-headed adventurers. And plasmoids, which are the playable oozes. And thrycreen, which are telepathic, camouflaging insectoids.
I would like to be... Now, I love the idea of an ooze. Would I play as an ooze? I don't know.
Never?
I don't know. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'd be an ooze. It's so much fun. All of them sound like so much fun.
Yeah.
But the ooze and the thrycreen are the 2 that sound the most interesting to me, but also are the ones that I think I would be least likely to play for a campaign.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't think I'd want to be an ooze for an entire campaign or a bug. A telepathic bug for... Well, maybe I'd be a telepathic. There's so much
telepathic bug is appealing to me.
Yeah. Listen.
Both are appealing to me, honestly.
Maybe, it's a lot. It's a lot. The one thing I think, look, Astral Elf sounds like the most boring to me. That doesn't mean it's bad, but to me personally, I'm just like, elf but more?
Yeah.
I already don't want to be an elf.
I'm excited to see what their ability set differs in what way, because obviously we've got a lot of variations on elves as is. And if it is simply an aesthetic difference, the way I play Dungeons and Dragons, that doesn't matter.
No.
You could have had astral shifting eyes right now, you know?
Yeah. I bet they got something weird to them.
They've got to have something in their racial abilities and their features and traits.
But what I love about Spelljammer is this this gives the ability to constantly change. There's Boo. It gives the ability to constantly change your setting, right? If you want to play this Star Trek style and you want to Strange New Worlds it and a different thing every week, Adventure of the Week, you can do that. If you want a way to connect your adventures to different planes in an easy way, like this is a way that you can like have people going from plane to plane within D&D, which is not always the easiest thing to do.
No.
But it becomes just part of what happens. And I love that because everything can change from week to week.
Very true.
It's so good. And I just love the aesthetic of it. Paint everything on the side of a goddamn van. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's high D&D to me is like, would you paint it on the side of a van in the 70s? Hell yes, I would. Would some 70s art rock band make a concept album about this?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they would.
Yeah. And
Kansas did make an album about this. It's called Point of No Return. Look it up.
And as someone who recently got really, really into Scum and Villainy, which is the reskin of Blades that is like some kind of spacey setting, but played it in a very like Firefly-esque campaign. This is great.
It's going to be so fun. But there was a lot of other stuff. Obviously, Spelljammer.
It's
but
the auto gnomes for me.
Dude,
I think the auto gnomes.
gnomes.
I think the auto gnomes like the first thing that I'll play.
Because I love the idea. Okay. I love the idea of being an automaton.
Uh-huh.
You played an automaton recently, right? Did you?
No, I built one, but I didn't
built
actually
one.
play it.
I'm fascinated by the idea of playing an automaton because I also just love in Star Wars and Star Trek and all sci-fi. I love droids. I love AI droids and all of the stuff that brings up. You know, the ethical stuff and the idea of what is a living. I just love automatons. And then I love a fucking gnome.
True.
I love a little builder boy.
Well, we knew Chirp loved a gnome. This is just an Anthony projection.
That just comes from me.
Is this an Anthony projection?
Ugh.
We never understood why Chirp loved gnomes.
Well, because they're adorable, and
Those are whole people.
they also build stuff, and we love that. We love adorable little builder boys. What are you squinting me for?
I think that might be problematic.
No, because gnomes ain't real. Gnomes is fake.
Baldur's Gate 3! Look, you already know about Baldur's Gate 3. We knew as soon as I said games that they were going to be like, we promise Baldur's Gate 3 is going to keep getting better and keep getting done.
Have you dipped back into it at all?
No, I haven't. Not since the very beginning.
Me neither.
No, I played in the very beginning.
Me too. And I was like, okay. But I think we talked about this before. I don't dive into anything that's too early access.
Right.
You never know when it's like, start the game over, which could be fine, or it could break my heart, and then I never play the game
Which
again.
Baldur's Gate did do a few times. Definitely gave us a few start overs. This was the trailer that we got for Baldur's Gate 3 and the journey so far. Obviously,
I love
scroll up a little bit. There we
I
go.
love a silly video shot in the office. We've sort of gotten rid of those in gaming.
It was cute.
But I love weird sketch comedy done in the office by people who are just like having a good time. I miss that sort of video game marketing, and I'm glad it's back. My apologies to Cassidy Weaver and anybody else who is a mildly uncomfortable gnome.
Fair. We got a little more about Journeys Through Radiant Citadel. We already know that we love Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel. I'm very, very excited about this. Specifically, Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel was written by 16 Black and Brown writers. Thank you, Dungeons and Dragons. You have a bit of time to make up for. I think this is a good place to sit for right now.
I love this.
There's so many
this
incredible writers
adventure
on this.
that they highlighted during the D&D Direct, which was it's called Fiend of the Hollow Mind, and it's set during like a Day of the Dead celebration where the dead come back to celebrate with their loved ones. And that's just a fun setup for a D&D campaign or a D&D adventure. You know?
Absolutely.
So fun. So fun.
Very excited about that. We got the campaign cases, which are very interesting. Those are physical modular cases to fit things like miniatures and what?
Do these cases? You are somebody who loves a little collection of things. Do these cases to hold all of your things, your D&D things, do they appeal to you?
They do. It will be strongly dependent on price point for me as well. We'll see. I'm also somebody who's going to be strongly customizing what's in it, so it's going to also depend on that. We have pictures of those.
Did you have a lot of caboodles?
I was a bit of a caboodle kid. I mean, I grew up in the 90s. Yeah,
I
of
could
course.
see you being a caboodle kid.
Yeah, I was a bit of a caboodle kid.
I used to like to get little cases for everything and try to see what I could fit. This is an advanced ADHD is what we call that.
Yeah.
I like trying to fit things into smaller things.
To me, I find these to be a little bit generic for the way that I play Dungeons and Dragons, but I don't think that is an overall statement on them. It is a statement on how I play personally, as somebody who traditionally plays in homebrew and doesn't play a lot of existing modules. And also has access to a lot of like high level and professional Dungeons and Dragons equipment.
Yeah.
These are not, I'm not the target audience for this.
Yeah, this case in particular does feel like, hey, here we go. We're getting you started. This is going to help you keep track of everything.
I think for a big beginner DM, I think this is excellent.
Yeah, we've seen other cases from them and third-party cases we've covered earlier this year because there are other companies that make them as well. But yeah.
Yeah, not directly from Dungeons and Dragons though.
Yeah, this is directly from Wizards, which is cool. But I would like to see, I bet they're just sort of testing the waters with this because I would love to see them come out with a much more advanced fancy case.
Yeah.
You know, particularly I think for somebody who does like to play with a lot of miniatures, I don't see that case being the best.
Right.
But that's almost a whole different ballpark.
Yeah, you're not playing with like three-dimensional miniatures. You're not playing with any three-dimensional terrain at that point, and that's great for a lot of people.
Kyrie14 says they look good for after-school programs. That's true. After-school programs, you know, when local stores do intros to D&D for kids and stuff like that. Oh, yeah, I love that.
I've been a part of those.
Yeah. Have you?
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah, I went and play with some kids at the comic stores.
I would love to do that. Now that the world is open again, I would love to do that.
They weren't through schools, but some comic shops put them on.
Yeah, that would be fun, man.
We should go around as the princesses and play D&D with kids occasionally.
Oh, that's cute.
In the before times. We got the title reveal for the Dungeons and Dragons movie starring Chris Pine that we've been talking about for a while now, which is Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves.
Everything about the marketing and the tone of this movie so far is really grabbing me. Honor Among Thieves is a great title for a D&D movie.
So that's the big thing that we've been wondering. When you say you're making a Dungeons and Dragons movie, that can mean approximately 1,000 things. And if they were making something that was generically fantasy, a mediocre Lord of the Rings, that was going to be a bummer. But from the things that they've said about it being kind of weird, and from the title Honor Among Thieves, I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I love it because one of the things that is so universal between every D&D campaign is just these characters have been thrown together and they're gonna be friends, but they're not yet. And who knows what they're gonna do to each other along the way. And that's just like, oh, you nailed it. That's it.
They described it as we set out to capture the spirit of fun and surprises that we all love about D&D. The movie is scheduled for March 3rd, 2023. We don't have an actual trailer yet or any other information, but we've got a year to go.
I'm very excited for it. We also got a new starter set, Dragons of Stormwreck Isle.
I'm also a big fan of these starter sets. I really am. I've bought them for many people's children. That's my go-to Christmas gift when someone has a child like, I'm going to say 6 or above.
Okay.
That's about the age.
Yeah.
So I think that that's really, really great. I'm very interested because things like this, like a new starter set, still make me have a big question mark over my head about the next edition of D&D.
Yes. I mean, we know that they're working on it. We know that it's supposed to be backwards compatible with 5e stuff. But yeah, what does that mean? What will change?
What will change?
What will have to be what will have to be kind of massaged with these older sets, particularly earlier 5e stuff. What will have to be kind of messed with to make that work with the new, because everything's going to require a little bit of tinkering. The thing that I find the most exciting about this, the Stormwreck Isle set, is this is the first set that is showing us the integration between Wizards and D&D Beyond. This is supposed to be a much more digital onboarding set. So the idea is this is going to like come with with some books from the digital library. So you're going to get some very specific things that come with that set. You're going to get like a little bit of onboarding and like how to go into D&D Beyond and get some like special starter set Stormbreak or Stormwreck content. And this is the way it's going to be going forward. Like when you buy this stuff, this is what we've been hoping for. When you buy stuff for your bookshelf, it goes to your D&D Beyond account.
I don't know that things will be like that going forward. They have not said that.
No, but this is no. And
That's
I'm not saying
a hope.
I'm not saying it's universal, but they did say that this one is going to have like digital onboarding tools and digital content for D&D Beyond. They also did say during the direct that like the digital library, like if you get if you just sign up for a D&D Beyond account or a Wizards account, you get the digital Monstrous Compendium now free.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
That's great.
And I love that because it's like some people command line says you unlock digital dice. The hope and the joy of this will be now that they're part of Wizards, they can do much more interesting things than just the digital dice. But yeah, I like this because, you know, we talked about this on Monday. We're digital tools people.
We're definitely digital tools people. I also am a fan of having a physical book, though.
That's the thing.
I have almost all of the physical books.
I like having something nice for my shelf, but when it gets to time to play, I'd like to open up the screen and do the beep boop bop and have it done.
Yeah, I'm a fan of character sheets digitally. Absolutely. I'm not building another paper character sheet that isn't like at least first built in D&D Beyond to copy over, probably ever again. I hate that. I think it is extremely limiting. The lack of access to the information makes you build a boring character. Sorry, not sorry. But for just like flipping through for reference points for things like that, love to flip through my physical books.
This is also a great thing. We were talking about new DMs or new players. This is a nice thing if you're a new DM. If you want to have 4 books that you can flip through, open in front of you, this is a much easier way to do it than to go over to somebody's house with like 3 or 4 reference books because you're new, you know?
Absolutely.
They also announced that there are some of the featured monsters for the Monstrous Compendium, Eldritch List, 10-legged asteroid spider, brand new monster called the Star Lancer. They also said when they announced this book that they are expanding books that are available in European languages. So Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, Monsters of the Multiverse, Curse of Strahd, and the new starter set are all going to be in French, German, Italian, and Spanish, which is a huge deal.
That's been a thing that people have been asking for a very long time. And that's one of the things that I'm like very, very hopeful about with this is people specifically have been like, hey, a lot of these books are printed in other languages, but they weren't available on D&D Beyond in other languages, which is a whole other licensing agreement, requires a whole other team to translate to the digital stuff. And under Wizards, I believe they should be able to do that.
It's exciting to see what's going to come from this D&D Beyond buyout.
We got a little announcement trailer for Neverwinter Dragon Slayer, which is an MMORPG.
Oh, this is a Gearbox game.
Yeah, it is. From Gearbox.
Fascinating.
Very interesting. Though I'm not surprised.
No, I mean obviously Gearbox they have a love for D&D. I mean, and Tiny Tina is like crushing.
Yeah.
So they understand how the world and how to do it. It's always fun to watch Gearbox make licensed stuff or stuff for other people because their own style is so over the top when they make their own stuff, but they're very adaptable.
Yeah.
Like, say what you will about that Aliens game that they made, and you can say a lot of terrible things about it, but they got the world right.
I think that they come across as big D&D fans, and I love the idea of a game made by D&D fans, and not necessarily just D&D. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do we know much about this game in terms of...
Boss, we learned out who the
not
mole
the clip,
is.
not the clip. Come back.
There we go. We just got
Literally
all we got was that.
a character.
Now, I'll say this, based on the quality, I don't know.
So this is set for June 2022. So that should be a pretty much very close to completion game.
Did you dip into Neverwinter at all
No.
growing up? I wanted to dip into some of the Neverwinter stuff, and I remember when Neverwinter Nights was like a big deal on the PC, and it came with like the Dungeon Master tools to build your own stuff for it, and I was always fascinated by level editors, but it felt very intimidating to me at the time.
And it is an expansion for Neverwinter. That is correct. Neverwinter Dragon Slayer is an expansion for the game for June 2022. I will say, did you know it was still online?
No, that's why I thought it was a new game at first. When they first announced this, I was like, oh, new Neverwinter. And it was like, no, this is the same Neverwinter. It's still going.
I also thought it was a new Neverwinter, that they were releasing another game.
It's wild. It's wild that that's still, but there's so much stuff that's still going on online that you're like, oh yeah, that's still going on.
We got an announcement for a massive new D&D play series that features friends like Abria Iyengar.
Ooh, let me tell you
love
something.
of our life.
Abria Iyengar, just a new up-and-comer in the space. She's gonna get big one of these days. We're telling you, she's one to watch.
Including Brennan Lee Mulligan, also a friend of the channel who we love very, very much.
TikTok's Brennan Lee Mulligan?
Everywhere is Brennan Lee Mulligan.
Dude, my For You, like sometimes my For You page on TikTok is about 40% Brennan clips, and I am never mad at it.
Wow, okay.
Never mad at it. Deborah Ann Wall as well. There are a lot of people in this.
Yeah, there are. There's so many people. There's clearly going to be like multiple casts. I'm sure it's going to be split up.
Love to see DJ. Love to see Anna.
Oh yeah, a friend of the channel, DJ Knight as well. We love DJ. Very, very cool.
And Travis and Sungwon Cho. We love Sungwon.
Yeah, love Jim Zub. Very, very cool. This is a really, really cool cast. I keep cutting back and forth. And of course, Boo the Space Hamster.
Akotoroku is saying that Brennan is playing a Mind Flayer cowboy, which...
Yeah.
Bless your heart, Brennan Lee Mulligan. So that's exciting.
They announced or rather they showed off, because we knew this was coming, D&D Onslaught, which is a tactical board game, like skirmish miniature game. They showed off a little bit of that, which is coming to local game stores in October. People say that it's along the lines of like a Warhammer, essentially, and you're just like tactical battle strats.
I feel the call of miniatures very often, but I have so far refused the call. Do you know?
Yeah,
you know
I'm actually not a miniature person.
I love a little figure.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the idea of a little painting project.
Yeah.
But that's just, I love the idea of it the same way I love the idea of maybe one day I'll live in a cottage in the mountains. I don't want to live in a cottage in the mountains.
Sure. Okay.
You know? I don't want to do that. It sounds lovely. Being a person who paints miniatures sounds lovely.
You know, I went through a tiny miniature painting phase in quarantine.
How tiny were the miniatures?
So tiny. And I painted exactly 2 miniatures. And I didn't do it well, and I don't intend to use them in games. But I had a good time painting them.
That's the thing, is the thing that I feel intensely about is, what if I buy, because, you know, I got offered some of the Star Wars Armada sets, right? And I was like, oh, wow, that's kind of nice. The thing that frightens me is like screwing up a $20 miniature, like the painting job, and just hating it and being like, buh, and having to look at a miniature that I don't like that I bought for $20.
Yeah.
It's like, here it is, an object of ruin created by me. A reminder of failure. I feel kind of about that. I know I would get over it, but also, who's got the space for all these? I mean, I know they're called miniatures, but they start to become like maximatures when you've got like 100 of them.
Yeah, that's when you got to bust back out the caboodles.
That's when you caboodle
That's
it,
when you
baby.
caboodle it. You got to have the cases of them. I have a lot of friends with big cases of them, or like entire like shelving systems just for miniatures and terrain.
Oh my God.
I agree with Aggressive Text. I'm also a big fan of Hero Forge. They're either 3D printed color minis or like they're pre-painted minis and stuff like that. We all have their we got the like early access to the color printed minis, and I'm a big fan.
I got a little chirp and he looks great. And I would say I would feel comfortable enough putting like little details onto that like pre-colored base a little bit.
Yeah, that can absolutely be built upon.
You know, I love that. But yeah, my buddy Sam has he has to have an entire room in his house for his miniatures. Like, it's gotten that crazy.
Yeah.
Rahul now has one of those travel cases, and he has to do it as like his carry-on.
Wow.
Yeah. I think see, that's the other thing, is it feels like it becomes a lifestyle, and I don't know if I'm ready for that lifestyle yet.
I don't think that miniatures is quite my lifestyle, but I like to look at them. I like to have one of my character, and as somebody who doesn't GM specifically D&D terribly often, I'm not too worried about generally having like terrain. We did just get some from our friends at a local game company, some like modular tile ones.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like the thing that gets me. The thing that really gets me. If I had enough space, I would buy like terrain stuff and environment stuff for sure. I love that. Cuz I love a shoebox diorama.
Yeah.
I love a scale model.
Right.
I love a miniature world. And I do love all of the tile sets that have been coming out where it's like, this is everything you need to build a dungeon. This is everything you need to build a town.
Right.
And that's one of those things also where like, if you feel this call like I do, you can find whatever local store in your area, particularly like if you live in a pretty big town, has like tables set out for things like Warhammer and D&D, and they usually have like tons of minis for you to use, and some of them offer mini storage for you. So like, if you want to like build 100 minis, now,
these are modular, and then you can put like glass or like the acrylic cases over them if you want to like connect them puzzle piece wise. They're from 1985 games.
Oh wow,
they're pretty great. Not spawns.
Look at this little Baba Yaga house.
Not spawns, but friends of the channel.
I love this Baba Yaga house. This is so good.
Yeah.
Are they going to offer a set to help me put my life together? No.
Hey.
No.
Also, King Sassafras earlier mentioned that you're a part of some kind of organization that teaches D&D to LGBTQ youth and high schoolers. Feel free to drop a link in the Discord, because I'm sure that's something really cool that a lot of people would like to support. I know I personally would. If you feel comfortable, if it's too local or it's giving out too much personal information, absolutely. But... Yeah. If you'd like
if you'd like to share, I'm sure that we have a lot of people that would love to hear about it. The final big announcement is Dragonlance.
Now, Dragonlance was originally a novel series from the 80s that has been adapted into most editions of Dungeons and Dragons throughout the years, but not yet to 5e. And we are getting a new adventure book, Shadow of the Dragon Queen, and a battle game, Warriors of Krynn.
This is, I mean, look, Dragonlance is obviously very classic, very formative to a lot of people who played D&D. Even like I said, I never got to play D&D growing up, but I did own certain books, and I did lust after D&D stuff in the bookstore. And Dragonlance, I feel like, really hit a stride when I was a kid because there were so many Dragonlance books, and like. I think even the D&D like choose your own adventure books, there was like a set of them set in Dragonlance that I had one. I'll say this as a grown man, Dragonlance, not one of my favorite settings or stories. Just because, you know me, the higher high fantasy gets, the lower I am on it.
Sure.
You know, there's a real line that you got to walk with me with high fantasy stuff and knights and all that. How do you feel about it?
You know, I haven't read any of the Dragonlance novels, and I haven't gotten to play on an edition that had it like in a setting essentially, or an adventure book. So I'm looking forward to it. I personally am not against a higher high fantasy. I don't have the same hesitations around a higher high fantasy, but I don't have a hard stance on it until I play it. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's an interesting setting. There are literally, I want to say like hundreds of books in Dragonlance, which is fucking wild.
Now, people are bringing up Weiss and Hickman, Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, who created Dragonlance and had sort of a falling out with Wizards. They are back to write this novel. So apparently things have been worked out to an extent.
Yeah.
I don't know the depths of that, but it's good to see the original creators on board. I'll say this: Wizards of the Coast and the current crew at D&D is very pro creator. They really do like to kind of champion the creators of like specific modules and things like that. They do it like, this is the author, this is the person who made this, and they will put those people a little front and center. Whereas I feel like classically every company in the 80s and 90s was kind of burying creators.
Yes, absolutely. Every company then 100% was. I think the thing is like Dungeons and Dragons is quite simply a completely different, like Wizards of the Coast is a completely different company than Dungeons and Dragons creators were in the 80s, in the 90s, in any amount of time since we've had a Dragonlance release. So with that in mind, it makes sense that most of those things can be patched up because most of those people probably don't work there anymore. I will say Dungeons and Dragons has not always been a cool place to be or work.
Nope.
We all know that. Dungeons and Dragons has a very, very tragically racist history, a strongly misogynistic history. And the company is making a lot of changes and has over the course of 40 years,
Tempest 7X says they have to be pro-creator because Wizards has been called out on not crediting people, especially BIPOC folks. Yes,
absolutely. It's why, for instance, like Candlekeep was a really, really big deal at the time because it was very much about featuring those writers and had a lot of really incredible BIPOC creators on it. But yeah, I mean, I do agree that they've been finally pushed into it because there has been a big history of not crediting people properly.
Yeah, and it's good to see them. It's good to see them righting that ship. That's all. I don't know why. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the depths of the Weiss and Hickman thing. Some people are saying that it doesn't seem like it's so patched up, and there might still be some issues with that. But I am not aware. And like I said, Dragonlance, not my thing.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. It was a very exciting D&D Direct.
It was a great D&D Direct.
I'm strongly in favor of them doing something like this. Obviously, if this is the end of D&D Live, I'll be very sad because I never got to go to a D&D Live, and I always wanted to. I hope that something pops up when it's a little bit safer to do so that is some kind of in-person event that we can attend.
I'd love to see them do a couple D&D Directs a year. Kind of take it the way that video game companies do it. A couple D&D Directs a year, and then D&D Live, their one big live event for the year. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Do them both.
Yeah.
Involve everybody,
I would very much like to see that, and I am looking forward to it. In other game news that's related, I would say, you might know a little company called White Wolf. You might know about Vampire the Masquerade. You might know it traditionally from the tabletop game, but also, obviously, some massive video games as well. Now, recently, they held a Vampire Jam, which drew about 80 submissions, and essentially they were encouraging people, what?
I'm picturing various concepts of a Vampire Jam in my head. That's all. I think it's a fun thing, a Vampire Jam.
A Jampire, if you will. Yeah. Yes, Pills and Advice, thank you very much. So they hosted a Vampire Jam, and the idea was to invite people to make their own Vampire the Masquerade video games. Which was very fucking cool. So now they are launching an indie publishing program called Unbound that allows independent developers to create games set in the Vampire the Masquerade universe and make money from them if they want.
Bloodlines 2 isn't coming, is it? What I'm reading is Bloodlines 2 is not coming.
I think this is very, very cool.
No, this is a great thing. This in and of itself is an amazing thing, and I love this. And it's something that I totally get coming from a tabletop company.
Yeah.
Because there is such an embracing of homebrew and like bringing on people who create good homebrew in the tabletop community. But also, I do think it means that Bloodlines 2 is not coming, or at least not for a good long while. I think the two are intertwined. Because if they had a couple big games coming, I don't think they would have embraced this event as wholeheartedly. Maybe. That's just my gut telling me that.
Okay. They said, following the Vampire Jam last year, we realized how passionate our community is about creating Vampire the Masquerade games. While we could only award one grand prize to Heartless Lullaby, we knew that we had to create a platform that empowered our community to work on the projects that they love while giving them the support that they need to be successful. As long as World of Darkness fans continue making great games, there will be more titles coming through Unbound. So, it is not open-ended. It is not just like do whatever you want. Unbound games can only be offered on itch.io. There's an Unbound page there already. Developers cannot raise funds through crowdfunding or personal pages, although funding methods through allowed by the Dark Pack Agreement, including Patreon, YouTube, and Twitch, are okay. Games must be set in the Vampire the Masquerade 5th Edition story world and won't be considered officially canon to the World of Darkness universe. Of course.
That's great. This is great. This is pretty. These are pretty relaxed rules.
And technically, they cannot have Vampire the Masquerade or World of Darkness in the title, as to not confuse people looking for things that are canonical.
Okay.
They can be either historical or contemporary, but they have to take place in the real world, which is obviously a foundational thing for Vampire the Masquerade. It's not a sci-fi. It's not high fantasy. It's not steampunk. It has to be essentially earthly. Yeah. Because that is a thing that separates the World of Darkness from the Forgotten Realms, right? Paradox will keep 33% of any revenue earned on Unbound games.
That's pretty high.
That is a pretty high stake.
That's an insanely high stake.
But it is a free access to the Vampire the Masquerade license. So
it's weird.
I'm not surprised by that.
No, it's weird though, because yes, it's an access to Vampire the Masquerade. No, you can't put Vampire the Masquerade or World of Darkness in the title. Yes, we are taking 33%. That line, that A to B to C, is a little weird to me, because if you're making this game, you would hope that you would be able to at least be like, hey, this is a Vampire the Masquerade game that I made, because that's what's going to get you. If I'm a developer starting out and I'm making a vampire game, I would kind of want that for the marketing and discoverability of the game, particularly if I'm giving up 33%. And I understand.
Do you mean being able to say it in the title?
Yeah, if I want people to be able to look up my game very easily, and it's easier when it's in the title.
This is mostly for access to the world.
Yeah.
Because there is a very expansive and rich lore to the World of Darkness. And if you can make a game within that setting and you don't have to write your own setting, you're literally utilizing the setting of a pre-existing game.
That's fair.
Would I love for it to be less for creators? Yes, absolutely. But also, I do understand.
And you would think there's nothing that's been directly stated, but you would think that if one of these games does particularly well, they would want to pluck it off of itch and turn it into something bigger. And I guess there's always that kind of hope too. You keep your fingers crossed that you're making a good game about a world that you love and the people who own that world notice. It's interesting. I mean, like I said, there's nobody else doing anything like this, so it's cool.
They said that anything that isn't using World of Darkness IP within your game, you retain all of your ownership of and are free to sell them in an art book, a soundtrack, whatever.
Okay.
So you have access to that. You don't have to be an experienced developer or a game dev studio to join. We allow everyone in, from creators of their first game to more experienced teams. I think that that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's fun. There are 6 games out right now.
Already launching under the Unbound program. Descent is a survival horror adventure. The Chantry Trials is a puzzle game. The Game of Elders, a strategic card game. The Autumn People, a first-person shooter. Praxis, a mix of 4X strategy and role-playing. And Prodigal, I believe that one is just kind of like a traditional little point-and-click RPG.
Praxis is the one that sounds the most interesting to me in terms of being a game set in the World of Darkness, because it's the one that seems very strategy-like about becoming the top of the vampire families in Portland.
Yeah. Prodigal is the one.
Prodigal.
Yeah.
Prodigal.
Couldn't get that word for some reason. It disappeared from my brain in the moment.
Prodigal.
Prodigal is the one that sounds most appealing to me. A little point-and-click adventure set in the World of Darkness. Yeah, absolutely. That's it for me.
I love it. And as much as I'm like, hey, this seems weird, I do want to say, baseline, there are not a lot of people doing community things like this, and this is a huge deal.
They did pick up the one from the Vampire Jam, Heartless Lullaby, which is not just part of this program. It's literally being actually put out on Steam. It carries the official Vampire the Masquerade title.
So they're hoping to grab like one of these maybe every year or two, I would imagine, and put them into like hardcore development for a full release. That's kind of neat.
I would love to see that. This one is the one that came from the Vampire Jam, which I think is pretty cool. That one's from 2022, and it is already here and it's free to play.
I love the look of it. I love an ISO low poly blue and purple. Hey, there's Saige. Saige, don't go in there. Saige, this vampire's in there. Saige
It's
is like,
me. I'm the vampires.
Saige is like, I know, that's why I'm going in there.
I am the vampires.
Hey, we were talking about Gearbox just a moment ago,
True.
and they have made an announcement, which is very interesting.
Very interesting.
You know, we just got that first Tiny Tina DLC,
Mm-hmm.
and now we are getting another announcement from them. Tales from the Borderlands is coming back.
Which is very interesting because Tales from the Borderland, of course, was a Telltale game, and we're not seeing Telltale games anymore.
Rip in peace,
Mhm.
Telltale Games. So this is going to be interesting because it was a very Telltale game.
Yeah.
It had that exact style, and I loved it because I do love Borderlands. Is one of those games where it's fun enough for me,
Mm-hmm.
but I like playing it because I like the world and the characters.
Yeah.
And I'm going for like that next bit, that next cutscene, that next bit of story.
Yeah.
So Tales from the Borderlands was really interesting to me. So it's cool that they're able to pick this up and continue with it. I wonder if it's gonna be similar characters, same characters, all new story. We don't know. We just have a teaser image.
What it says here is the new Tales from the Borderland will follow Tiny Tina's Wonderlands as the next game. So I think it might be set in the same like following of their like fantasy themed one, but it might not be. It's literally just following it in order, so we don't know if that's going to be the case, but there is suspicion that it could be in that like kind of setting because previously it was following like Borderlands 2 and 3 and the narrators of it. So
that's interesting.
The other one followed the events right in between 2 and 3, so we could see something.
Do you think this means if this is set during Tiny Tina?
This is literally just speculation, to be clear.
If this is set during Tiny Tina, do you think this is a stopgap to just keep, they're riding that Tiny Tina train? Do you think they didn't make it based in the main Borderlands world because new Borderlands soon?
Hard to say. And again, who knows what it will be. The little preview that we got, though, doesn't necessarily look Tiny Tina-y. Let's see. And it is also slated for 2022. It's supposed to come out this year. So this is just a little image that we got. I'm very intrigued.
Yeah,
I can't identify what's going on down there. Can anyone else?
It's a weird little Stargate. Step on through the weird little Stargate.
So, that's all we have for it right now. Coming in 2022, it says it is coming from Gearbox and 2K. Makes sense. Obviously, Telltale does not exist and therefore is not involved. I wonder if maybe it'll just pick up. It can't pick up after the most recent one though, because the most recent one bridged the gap between 2 and 3.
Yeah. So maybe it could be between 3 and 4 or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
Should be interesting. We should say Telltale, as we knew it, is gone. They are marginally back and apparently working on something new, but certainly not in the way or the extent that they used to. Let's talk about. Oh, okay.
I would like to talk about this showcase.
Let's do it.
We don't like meta, obviously. We don't. But we're also people with Oculuses. We're both Quest people that already have our Quests. And there was a big MetaQuest gaming showcase for their upcoming lineup. And there were some very interesting games in it that I would like to talk about.
Yeah.
First things first, we got Ghostbusters VR as a reveal. Oh, yeah, here we go. See if the IGN player can handle this.
Yeah. No.
And the answer was no, the IGN player could not. I don't know why they insist on doing this.
Let me see if we have. Yeah, here we go. I'm going to try to pull it up on Meta's page. Yeah, here we go. I have them in YouTube players for the next one.
Okay. I think this is pretty cute. Is your NDI working?
Let's find out together as a family.
No.
That
is a very Fortnite-looking character. Look at this for me.
It is very. They're all
Look at this
very,
character.
Yes, this is extremely Fortnite
Like,
looking.
That's a Fortnite character.
The Fortniteification of multiplayer games continues. I don't mind a semi-cartoony look.
I don't mind a
particularly
cartoony look for this at all.
because it's VR and
Yeah.
because it's multiplayer and fun. So, but yeah, very Fortnitey.
But like Ghostbusters in VR sounds very fun to me.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
strongly into this idea.
It's been weird. It's been weird watching all of these games. We've talked about this. It's been weird watching all of these multiplayer horror ghost hunting games become the biggest things in the universe and not have a Ghostbusters game doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So this is nice.
It
This is
supports
nice to see.
4-player co-op. It is running your own Ghostbusters HQ in a new city, San Francisco, and solving deep mystery across the new chapter in the Ghostbusters universe. I'm so into it.
I love it.
I'm all in. The idea of co-oping a Ghostbusters game in VR with my friends is perfect.
I do like the idea of like, I hope there's a little bit of that, not too much, but a little light business managey simmy.
Oh my God, I would love that so much.
I love that in a Ghostbusters
Fuck, I would love
game.
that so much. Especially co-oping a little business sim. There's not a lot of co-op business sim.
The old PC Ghostbusters games used to have that, where you had to upgrade your equipment and stuff. Hey, Resident Evil 4 Mercenaries is out on VR. You like what's your favorite part of Resident Evil? And everybody says it once, the multiplayer. When I think of Resident Evil, I think of a multiplayer action experience. But Mercenaries does have its fan base. There are people that really love it. It's cool to see it in VR. I probably will not be playing it very much, but I love that it's there.
Another game that I can't see myself necessarily playing is The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. This one's chapter 2, so they're just continuing this. Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Zombies in VR is not appealing to me.
You and zombies, it takes a lot for you to like a zombie.
Yeah, I'm gonna need, again, I think zombies, because we've so oversaturated the concept of zombies, have to go beyond zombie being a genre and into zombie movies having a genre. We have some zombie horror and we have some zombie comedy right now. Not getting much else. And I have to really, really be into the genre.
Yeah.
I love Warm Bodies.
Warm Bodies was great.
I love Warm Bodies.
Warm Bodies was great. I think Life After Beth, great movie. You should watch Life After Beth if you haven't, with Aubrey Plaza as a zombie.
I just don't think that there's anything that's like a realistic zombie game that I would want to play in VR. The idea of being like swarmed by something like that or in VR is not appealing to me. When I think of horror in VR and the things that I find interesting about it, like suspense horror, stealth horror, I think is very fun for VR, but things like hordes and like combat, not for me. I think I would have a panic attack, and not just like because it's scary, just because that just seems stressful.
It's a lot, and I think there is something, like you're saying, about the slower paced horror in VR, because it feels more real. It feels more real. Like, when I think about horror in VR, like one of my favorite things was the VR mod for Alien Isolation. Like, I love that. I love that, because it's like, oh, I'm going to use this space. I'm going to hide. I'm going to explore.
Yep.
And then every once in a while, a deadly scare. So scare.
Yes, absolutely.
But like a horde mode in VR is fun in like a shooty bang bang way, but it's not the most compelling thing. Bone Lab. This is from the Boneworks people. Still not working?
Nope.
I just restarted it.
I'll play it on mine.
Boneworks, if you haven't played it, is it's a technical marvel of VR. It really is.
I haven't.
It's not the most appealing to me because it's a real like shoot 'em up, pull somebody's head off and throw it in the air and shotgun it, like that sort of thing. Like, it's a VR physics playground attached to a good shooter game.
Interesting.
And it's highly, highly interactive to the point where like it doesn't do any of the teleporty, don't worry, we're going to make sure you don't get motion sick stuff.
Ooh.
No, Boneworks is very much like if you're jumping, it's going to look and feel like you're jumping from place to place. And it can get but that's the appeal of it, is it's very realistic.
Right.
So they
you got to get your VR legs for a bit first.
Yeah, 100%.
It takes me a while when I haven't played VR in a minute. I have to play like something real chill for a minute to settle in.
Yeah, I every time something big like this comes out, I know I got to do like a week of little games.
Yeah.
Just little sessions. But this is Bone Lab, which is the 4th project from the developer of Boneworks, Stress Level 0. It's going to be a brand new story. They have a brand new engine or updates to their engine. And it's another run around, shoot, escape the lab. It's gonna be pretty good.
That's fun.
It's gonna be pretty good.
I'm gonna be honest. This one was the most appealing to me of almost everything they showed in this.
NFL Pro Era?
No, this would be Cities VR.
Oh yeah,
it's a city management sim.
Oh yeah,
that's it. It's a little city management sim where you are God. Just run around, build bridges, and watch your little people in your little city thrive.
Did you ever play Skylines, City Skylines?
I played a lot of I think I've played a little bit of City Skylines, but I'm trying to think of the I can picture the like case of it, the PC game.
I like City Skylines. I think they really picked up and took the mantle of SimCity in a way that Maxis and EA particularly did not care about SimCity. But this is really fun. Like the city customization that you can do, the little tweaks that you can make to buildings and stuff to really make a city feel like yours is great. And also, I like any game that's from like a toy box perspective in VR.
Exactly. I'm a big fan of that. I think this will be very, very fun. All kind of like VR simulator games I'm going to be in for. I think it's very interesting and immersive. I agree. A Planet Coaster in VR would fucking own.
Ooh, that'd be great. Do you remember like the first big thing that everybody was playing on the Oculus when it first came out was just like a little roller coaster demo? Like everybody was like, you got to come over and see VR. And they would put you in the headset and it was a demo of a roller coaster. And it was like, nobody built on that.
Wild.
Why did nobody build on that?
I was a roller coaster tycoon kid. The Tycoon games had a city building one. And that was the one that I was picturing.
God, a theme park game in VR. Whew.
That would be very, very fun.
God, a full-on theme. Oh, man. Among Us VR, big announcement.
I wonder if this will get Among Us attention, you know? They haven't necessarily been able to bring back the Among Us crowd yet. A lot of those people have moved on. But genuinely, I could see this being fun. And I'm not really an Among Us person. But this looks well made in VR. Yeah,
I think it'll be fun. I think, they're not going to expect to pull, nothing can pull Among Us numbers. That be, like Among Us was on, every platform. VR automatically limits your numbers. I would imagine they're getting some funding money from Meta, as all the games on this list probably are getting a little bit of funding.
Yeah.
Which helps out. But more well-designed multiplayer that isn't just sit in this sandbox and do dumb shit.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of good sit in this sandbox and do dumb shit.
Absolutely.
Stuff in VR. And now, like with this and Ghostbusters, I'm like, let's do some real multiplayer, good VR
This
stuff.
genuinely looks shockingly good.
Yeah.
Just considering the art style of Among Us, it was very up in the air as to what this was going to look like. And I was very surprised that it looked this good. But the little bit of fuckery of Among Us that I did enjoy the aspects of it, I think would be very highlighted by this version.
Oh yeah. There's more
Don't yell
potential.
at me in VR.
Don't yell at me in VR.
Do not yell at me in VR.
Do not.
I will take my headset off. I swear to God.
People are asking: Is there proxy audio and immersion audio or proximity audio?
I think there has to be, because I think they added proximity chat officially to the base game. So I'm going to absolutely assume that there will be, but that is an assumption.
Yeah. All we have right now is the trailer, and it's coming at the end of 2022.
Yeah.
The next one is Red Matter 2. These is Shell Games. They created I Expect You to Die and Until You Fall. I never played the original Red Matter.
Same.
But they're very good at making these escape rooms in VR, if that makes sense.
Yeah, find little clues, move on, find another,
And they're
solve puzzles.
Yeah, and they're very good at it. I Expect You to Die was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I love anything that's, space station retro sci-fi.
It looks like a little bit retro sci-fi and a little bit portal-y.
It looks a little portally for sure. For sure.
And I love that.
Yeah, there's a lot of, then we have Aspire 2, which is Shooty Shooty Bang Bang.
I'm scrolling around because we've got these in a different order. I'm like,
oh, sorry, yeah.
Obviously this is from Tripwire.
So this is like a spy game. This is like international espionage, very GoldenEye kind of stuff.
Espionage.
I dig it.
I find this more appealing than the idea of most things that have a shooty bang.
Yeah.
I'd rather be a spy.
The thing that's really cool about this is it has an entirely separate co-op campaign. Which everything co-op, particularly in VR.
Yeah, I'm not one to really play VR alone. If I'm playing VR alone, I am most likely having a depressive episode, and I will be sitting in my little 3D clay modeler, and no one can talk to me.
Yeah, please do not.
No one will talk to me, and I will be sitting there 3D modeling little bits of clay into vague shapes and then destroying them and rebuilding them for potentially hours. That's about it. Yeah, it does look like fun with physics. Agreed, Ronan. Or I'm playing a little bit of Tales from Galaxy's Edge.
Now,
what's up?
Now, so Ruins Magus.
Mm-hmm.
I like the look of this for sure.
I like the look of this a lot.
This definitely has a look that we don't get as much in VR stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that JRPG. It looks very FF Tactics to me.
I could see that.
It has that art style.
This was very appealing to me. This was a kind of game that I don't have anything like in VR, which I think is really fucking cool.
Yeah, a lot of the kind of dungeon crawly stuff that's been done in VR has been very Western dungeon crawl.
Agreed.
It's been very Knights and Dragons and Rusty Armor.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that this is much more JRPG looking.
This looks fun as hell.
Yeah.
Boba. Sorry, someone in the chat said boba, and I can only say it like Cad Bane
Boba.
now for the rest of my life.
Now, there is one game to rule them all as far as I'm concerned.
Agreed.
And that is Moss 2.
Moss Book 2.
Ooh. All I want is to make sure that Quill is okay. Hey, Quill, are you okay?
Hey, little buddy. How are you doing?
Do you remember picking up Quill and having Quill in your hand and it would do a heartbeat?
I have seen it, but I haven't played it.
Oh. You gotta come over because it's PSVR. Although I think it might be. Yo, chat. Does anybody know? Is the original?
It says right here it is set to arrive in summer 2022.
Well, this is book 2. Is the original Moss already out for something else, or was it just PSVR? Because I know it was at least a timed exclusive.
Because Moss 2 is also already on PSVR. It's on PC too. Interesting.
Oh, great. Perfect. You got to play it.
Okay.
Because that means I don't have to hook up my PSVR.
Fair. We'll do a lot to avoid hooking up PlayStation products.
A lot of great stuff coming for the Quest 2. I'm excited. I do not like Meta as a company.
Nope.
I do like VR as a concept.
Love it.
And I like cool VR things.
Yeah, and not all of these are exclusive to Quest.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, these were featured in the Quest showcase, but if you do use other VR, some of these will be available for them.
Great. What else? What else is going on? Oh,
there's so much going on. We have too much in here today.
Yeah, so earlier this week we got an interesting thing. We were told that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is getting an early release. It was supposed to come out later this year. It was supposed to come out in September, but now it is coming out in July.
Mm-hmm.
And the second that was announced, is my thing working yet?
No.
I just restarted it. There we go.
There we go.
So they moved it up 2 months, and I was like, wait a minute. That means Splatoon's delayed. that means Splatoon is delayed because Splatoon was supposed to be summer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought we were going to see Splatoon in like a month or two.
Yeah.
But no, it turns out now Splatoon is coming out on September 9th. I think it's coming out.
September 9th.
September 9th. So they swapped them.
Interesting. A little birthday present for Anthony's?
A little birthday present for Anthony's. Although I wouldn't have minded having Splatoon earlier.
Sure. Yeah.
I wouldn't have minded having Splatoon earlier, but there is something poetic about having Splatoon 3 release on the anniversary of the Dreamcast. Because it really is a Dreamcast game. It really is. So I'm very excited about that. And then, of course, the Xenoblade fans are rabid.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just rabid. And so for them to get the game 2 months early, hey, congrats.
We're very excited for you. Rest in peace to all of the Splatoon fans. We are all very sad. We will show you. They give us a little bit of that like date announcement trailer. Just showed us a little more of the game. I'm sold already. It's okay.
Yeah. You don't need to show me any more Splatoon. I know that Splatoon is coming.
Yeah, that's Splatoon 3, and it looks like Splatoon 3, and it looks awesome. And it's going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah, there it is. Look at him go.
Look at that big paintbrush.
That'll be us. In September, that's going to be us.
That is going to be us in September.
Oh my God, can you even imagine? I can't wait to dive back into Splatoon.
I'm very excited.
I know you can go play Splatoon 2 now, but it's it's a zombie game. It's like 10 people playing Splatoon 2.
Right.
I'm excited for everyone to come back.
We got to get friends playing it.
Dude, we have to get. A lot of my friends were playing Splatoon 2, but we gotta get the whole world up on Splatoon 3.
Right.
Because this is the most fun game to play with friends.
Everybody in chat, I need you to commit to playing Splatoon 3 with us.
Listen, you promise right now that you'll play Splatoon 3. Sign this contract.
And the fashions, so true, lots of kittens, so true.
God.
Very much looking forward to the fashions of Splatoon 3.
All I want to do is play paintball to buy cool streetwear. How do I do that in real life?
Speaking of cool streetwear, we got a 30-second clip of Skate 4 pre-alpha, and it is a pre-alpha. That is not kidding. That this is a very early clip. I believe this was a leak, right?
Yeah, I think it's a leak. Do we want to show this? Will we get a takedown if this is a leak?
It's still up on Twitter.
Okay.
So I don't think so.
Okay.
Jeff Grubb is who posted it. Let's take a quick look.
Let's take a quick look.
It is very bare. It is definitely skateboarding.
What's important to look at in this is the game system and the chaining of the tricks and how the tricks are being pulled off, because this is just a test playground world.
Is there butts showing through their pants when they bend?
Yeah. Pre-alpha butts.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, it's
Hold
alpha
on.
butt. No, it's alpha butts.
The star of Wicked?
Yeah.
Alpha butts, now that we're friends, I've decided to make you my new project. Hold on, everybody. Are we seeing alpha butts?
That dude's showing his whole ass. It's embarrassing himself. There better be... Release the butthole mode. There better be butthole mode. There better be a code in Skate 4.
Oh my god, wait. Come on, we can do it. Fuck. I'm gonna get it.
Use JKL. There you go. There you go. Skate butt. We had skate burb. There was skateboard. Then there was skate burb. Are you ready for the ultimate evolution of extreme sports? This is skate butt. Skate butt. Sharks, I'm here to pitch you on an evolution to skateboarding. It's skateboarding, but everybody's butts are out. I need $5 million in seed money to make this happen.
No shaming pre-alpha butts. I'm sorry, but alpha butts is the funniest thing I've ever heard. I'm going to shame it all day. I'm going to be thinking about it all day.
You think about alpha butt soup?
I'm going to be thinking about alpha butts for the rest of my life. That's so funny.
Alpha butt.
This is going to be a TikTok clip. Yeah, probably. Hello,
Probably.
TikTok.
I love the what is clearly like a free, like a free running, like, but freely controlled. I'm putting the word free in too much of this sentence, but it looks like you're controlling your own like acrobatic parkour kind of stuff while you're on the board as well, which is very exciting.
Why is that view replies button over it?
Yeah, view those replies.
I don't want to view replies.
No, take the replies and view
I want to
them.
view butts.
There it is, just a little bit of butt every time he pushes. But you don't want to push too hard. That's how you get skate hemorrhoids.
This was Vince at the Ren Fair last week. I'm so sorry, Vince and Elizabeth Queso. I'm so sorry. I'm not allowed to tell people this, but Vince ripped his pants as soon as he arrived at the Ren Fair.
I got that text that was like, "Does anybody have a pin?" I was like, "Oh no." So there you go. It's pre alpha. It's mostly butt related right now. Whether it will stay butt related, we don't know. Footage is not final. It's just a vertical slice of butt. It's not representative of actual ass.
Sorry, I think that's very funny. I also just can't believe that wasn't in the caption for this clip. The fact that nobody's talking about the butt.
Nobody's talking about that butt hanging all the way out.
See, this is why we're the first, best, and only morning news show in existence. Nobody else is really talking about what matters. Someone's got to talk about the butts.
Everybody's talking about every butt in video games except for the one that they're actually giving us.
You know what? I'm going to bring back a segment that we haven't done in a very long time, Anthony. We're giving Cake of the Week to the pre-alpha butt.
We're giving Cake of the Week to the Skater Player Mannequin.
Yes.
To the Skate 4 Player Mannequin.
Mm-hmm.
Alpha butts forever.
Yeah.
I love it. Hey, here's another game that you probably haven't thought of in a while. Rocket League.
I've thought about it very recently because I learned to play it very recently.
Oh, are you into it? Are you into Rocket League now?
I had a very good time playing it, actually.
It's a great game. It's a lot of fun.
I talked about this a lot because I hosted a show that was playing Rocket League a few weeks ago on the Crown Channel. I was a huge Lucio Ball fan, which was a Summer Games event in Overwatch. Mm-hmm. And it was always a limited time. It would come back and forth for like anniversary events in the summer. It's just that, which is also just soccer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very fun. The car soccer game is good. But what if I told you, Saige, we can go even further. We can take the soccer out of car soccer.
Demolition Derby!
That's right. Demolition Derby's back, and this time it's called Rocket League Knockout Bash.
That seems fun as hell.
April 27th to May 10th, limited time event. Clearly just testing it out. But you are going to be able to just knock the crud out of each other in Rocket League.
As someone who grew up poor Orange County white trash, I've been to a lot of real life demolition derbies.
Wow, I've only been to one, but it was exactly what I wanted it to be in every way.
I've been to more demolition derbies than I could count. And you know what? This seems like the only fun way to participate in one.
I love it.
I'm gonna play that.
So it says, in this destructive derby, novices and veterans alike will need to master the new attack, block, and grab mechanics to claim victory. This is very interesting. So basically, like...
You scroll down and show a little more of the video? Yeah. That looks fun.
That looks good. So they said that the prototype is built around attacking other players, and then they wanted to add more depth and variety to it. So they tried adding a moveset for blocking. Then people started spam blocking, and so they were like, great. Then we're adding the full fighting games triangle of attack, block, and grab.
Yes.
So it's pretty interesting. I want to play this very much.
Let's play it.
I want to play this quite a bit.
We'll do that.
More details about the mechanics and how it's all going to work and scoring and things like that are not in this article on the PlayStation blog, but I've heard everything I need to hear to get me to hop onto this free game for a day and check it out.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously.
And finally, well, let's do this one here.
Okay.
And then we'll move on to just a tiny bit of business.
A little bit of biz.
And do remember,
we don't have a lot of time
left.
left.
It's a big news day, but even though we can't get to everything, it's also a Friday.
Which means there's a bonus Patreon clip.
So if you want even more news from us after today's show is over, there's a place to get it.
That's so true. And we post on that most weeks.
Most weeks.
Some weeks we go out of town and there's not a Patreon clip, and I apologize for that. But every week that there's shows, there's clip.
And when we say clip, it can be anywhere from like 5 minutes to an hour long. So
yeah, we just give you a bunch of bonus.
You get
it's
your
too
stuff.
early.
This is a little gaming news for Anthony's and Anthony's only.
Yeah.
But I am going to try to get everybody on board this train. Why hasn't everybody played Klonoa?
Because I don't know what it is.
Why hasn't everybody played Klonoa? It's time. It's time. Klonoa Fantasy Reverie is coming out on July 8th. Now is the time to get into Klonoa.
What is Klonoa?
Klonoa is a beautiful little, it was originally a PS1 game about a cabot named Klonoa.
Okay.
And his friend Hupo.
Okay, I've seen this.
Yeah, who must save their world, and it's very much a puzzle platformer.
Okay.
With the whole deal is you've got a grabbing mechanic. You can grab enemies and use them to like double jump.
Okay.
Or hit switches and things like that. And the original Klonoa is coming out on every freaking platform, along with Klonoa 2 for the PS2. Both of them are being remastered.
Okay.
You can play them both. They're going to have new gameplay modes.
Did you make me play a little bit of this at some point?
I might have.
I feel like you made me play a little bit of this at some point.
I might have.
I think you pulled it up and you were like, take this, play.
Play a little Klonoa.
Take this controller, play.
Klonoa is friggin' adorable. It is, I think, just a lost gem of the PS1. Klonoa should have been the biggest thing in the world. It is so adorable. The story is so sweet. The style of it is wonderful. Just play. There was a Wii remake. Go play. Go play on July 8th, please. It's coming out on PS4 and 5, Xbox Series, Xbox One, and Steam. So just about everywhere. Freaking wild that there's no Switch version of Klonoa.
Yeah, that is very strange.
That's
I assumed that this was coming to Switch.
That is the target audience.
Huh.
What the heck? Okay. New features in the collection are easy and normal difficulty settings, hard mode that unlocks after you beat the game, and 2-player co-op.
Love a co-op.
Hey.
Don't know if I love a puzzle platformer.
Hey. Maybe you do. We'll find out. We'll find out on July 8th.
I've definitely found out. I have fucked around and found out.
Command Line says that they heard it's coming to Switch, but I don't see that in the official release. So, Bandai Namco has not said that, as far as I know.
Let's take this good news and let's root it with a little bit of business news.
Yes.
How about it? Let's talk about Netflix, everybody. Last week, or earlier this week, I believe. What day is anything? We talked a bit about Netflix's massive subscriber loss. They lost 200,000 subscribers, which was their first loss in 10 years. There's a lot of debates as to why that is. We talked about it more. Feel free to go back and watch those episodes. They are available. But following that, Netflix has made a pretty big cut.
Yeah, this is a huge cut. This is actually heartbreaking. They have let go the director of creative leadership and development for original animation. They're basically slashing their animation department. A bunch of people in animation development have been let go, and several high-profile animated series have been canceled, including the animated series based on Jeff Smith's Bone,
which we talked about forever ago.
We have been waiting for a Bone adaptation of some kind. It was originally with Disney for a while. It was with DreamWorks. It's been almost 20 years they've been trying to make a Bone series or film, and it looked like it finally found a home at Netflix, and now it's gone.
Rest in peace, Bone.
Additionally, they just bought all the property of the Roald Dahl estate recently.
Yeah, they bought everything from Roald Dahl, and The Twits was an animated adaptation they were going to be doing that has been canceled.
That was the first big Roald Dahl project that they were working on. They have decided to move it over to feature film, which okay. They also have decided to cut the adorable little witch animated cartoon that was coming out called Toil and Trouble. That's gone as well. It's rough, man. It's rough. I hate to see it. You know, we were talking about how there's less and less compelling stuff on Netflix, which is leading to, I think, this subscriber drain. I have to imagine this can only lead to more.
Mm-hmm.
They make some very interesting decisions in what to cut and what to keep. And I think, you know, I think it's part of it is budget based, part of it is metrics based, but it does seem like a lot of their higher end stuff that isn't a movie with a name that you recognize from movies in the theater is just disappearing.
Yeah.
It seems like they're leaving prestige TV more and more to the other streamers.
I can agree with that. And I'll also agree with the new Diabolical here and said that it's wild that Netflix had such a successful decade and now everyone acts like Netflix is dead because of a missed quarter. You know, I mean, it was their first time showing losses. And I do agree, infinite growth is not sustainable. That's not a thing. Now, all of the articles about this obviously are like in response to the subscriber loss. I don't know that that's true. Netflix has not said that. What they said was, we want to make what our audience wants to see. And I think that is a longer term conversation than that subscriber loss has been.
Yeah.
I think that that's about probably poor performance of animated series that they've done up to this point. Cuphead was referenced in the chat. They did put a lot into Cuphead, and Cuphead did not get the success they were hoping for.
Yeah, most of the animated stuff that's doing well for them is licensed stuff that they buy from other production companies. So the DreamWorks animated series stuff does very well for them.
Right, but they don't own it.
They don't own it, and that's stuff that DreamWorks makes in-house. They eat the cost. Netflix just licenses it.
Yep.
So Netflix developing original animation in-house, it looks like that's going to be happening less and less. And it's a bummer because there are fewer and fewer animation studios that are of the size that can make a television series, and you lose more and more creative voices, and you lose more sort of diversity of ideas in the industry when that happens. I was really looking forward to Bone. Bone's one of my favorite comics of all time, and I was really hoping they'd find a way to figure it out.
Yeah. In other interesting business news, another like set of layoffs. Hunt-A-Killer, which I have played a lot of Hunt-A-Killer during the pandemic, both on streams and off, recently cut 40% of their staff in a massive layoff, which comes absolutely shockingly after an incredibly successful peak during the pandemic. A lot of people were at home, and more people than ever were playing Hunt-A-Killer. From the combination of the subscription service games, the individual one-offs, and the like more board game-esque ones that they sell in Target, for instance, your Murder at the Motel, your Death at a Dive Bar. I was very surprised to see this, and their response on it is very, very interesting. They said, "We are currently shifting our efforts to the most growth-oriented aspects of our business. Part of this process is unfortunately a temporary reduction in force to allow our focus on thriving retail distribution and soon to launch live event business."
Ooh, okay. All right.
What does that mean?
So we're gonna have Hunt-A-Killer branded like escape room pop-ups. Is that the deal?
And why would you need to cut your staff for that? It just seems like we would like less people and more profit, please.
Yo, but here's the thing. Moving to live events is such an outlay of cost. Live installation events, like that's wild. We mail you sheets of paper.
Yep.
That was their business is we mail you sheets of paper. Are you telling me you think you're gonna make more on live pop-up events?
Not a chance.
That is such a money drain.
They said in the near future, we'll be announcing new content partnerships and new retail partnerships as we continue to grow and evolve our business. What it sounds like to me is we're expanding, but our team is shrinking, which doesn't make any sense. When we see companies do that, a lot of the time it is a profit margin thing, and I find that really embarrassing.
Yeah, like the article said and like Saige mentioned, pandemic did wonders for them.
They did $50 million in revenue, nearly doubling their revenue from the previous year in 2020.
Because everybody, we were all stuck at home, and we were like, yeah, I'll do anything. I'll do anything right now.
They reported a growth revenue of 20,000% in 3 years.
So, I mean, I would love to know if this was staff that was hired on with the idea that this pandemic growth was not going to be forever, if those expectations were managed, or if these were people that thought they were getting jobs forever.
But here's the thing. In that time, employees who have now been laid off are also reporting that they were in horrific crunch conditions as well.
Ugh.
That they were just absolutely too busy. It said
so they
here,
underhired for the amount of business they were getting.
Yeah.
And now they're cutting 40%.
Right. So what happens next? They said Hunt a Killer pushed its staff to continually release new material and games. Some workers told Polygon this led to extensive crunch for the company, often focused on the creative teams, because they do release very frequently. And there's their monthly subscriptions, and then they have a bunch of other games that they're constantly releasing.
Well, that's the thing that I always wondered about with it is, you know, if you go to Target and you buy one of those boxed Hunt a Killer sets, you get to do it once. That's not like buying a traditional board game where it's like, we can play this multiple times.
Exactly.
There is so much. Wow.
Very nice of you.
Very nice of you. We will do, by the way, a roll call here in a couple minutes when we end the show of everybody that supported us. But it does seem like there's a lot of need in that industry to just keep coming up with new product. Because if you've only got 5 mysteries out or 10 mysteries out and somebody plays through them, you can't sell any more to them ever
and
again.
If people forget about you for a while, then that's it. Now, I will say for some of them, it's nice that you can pass it on to other people. Some of the aspects of the puzzles do involve kind of ruining them. Whether it is like scratch off aspects of it or like opening up one-time open kind of cases where you have to kind of break something. There are a lot of them that I've played that I've looked at the end of it and gone, what the fuck do I do with this now?
That's the other thing is the amount of waste of them, like the tchotchkes.
Right, and trying to like put it back together because there's all these things that come out of specific sealed envelopes to like pass it on to somebody else is a little bit difficult.
And that's done on purpose.
Right. They don't want you to pass it on to someone else. They want them to have to buy it. What I would love to see, first and foremost, would be them paying their workers adequately, would be them hiring an adequate staff to keep up with the demand of their product. But then I would also like to see, just for the sake of my little environmental heart that has to live on this planet, a less disposable content or a much more, at least, recycle friendly then.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the sort of thing that like when industries were like, when the video games industry was talking about the rental market and how the rental market was going to kill them. It didn't kill video games. It only made video games bigger and only led to more sales. Being able to lend out a game, lend out a book, something like that is just such a natural thing. And if I get a Hunt a Killer mystery and I'm like, that was fun. Here, now you play it. I don't think I'm going to buy anymore. And then you play it and you really love it and you buy another one because of it.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of them.
Like that happens. So I wish that they would make these things a little more reusable. But anyway, it's a bummer for the people that got laid off. I'm sorry you had to work. We're sorry that you had to work in crunch conditions and then you got just unceremoniously dumped for it.
Do we show one good thing before we sign off, or are we out of time?
Let's do one good thing.
One good thing. Okay.
One good thing.
You pick the thing.
Hey,
I've got two things in there that are very strange.
We finally did it, everyone. We found out who the champion of the Earth is.
Pardon?
That's right. You may have been wondering who won at Earth. Who is the person that is the best at Earth?
Now this, you put this in as the show was starting.
Yeah.
So I don't know what this is.
Ladies and gentlemen, the champion of the Earth is Sir David Attenborough. He is now officially named our champion of the Earth.
Does he get a belt?
Yeah, I think he gets a big belt, and he finally is going to unmask. David Attenborough is going to take off his luchador mask finally and show us who he really is as he retires.
I'm so confused. What is this title?
So David Attenborough, of course, created things like Planet Earth, The Green Planet, A Plastic Ocean, an amazing documentary filmmaker who's shown off so many of the wonders of the world. This is the UN basically gave him an award for being not champion of the Earth as though he won the Earth, but he is the Earth's champion. He is the one that is doing good to show us what we need to do to fix the Earth. They've decided that he is a champion of the Earth of the highest order.
Wow.
The first champion of the Earth.
Wow.
He's 95 years old.
There's
Saige.
two different ways to read this, and I think there's the one they intended and the one that we're reading. Because the one is, I am the champion, I stand upon the earth.
No, David
my foot
Attenborough.
upon its chest, the big belt. And then there is
Yes.
someone who champions for the earth.
Yes. No, I like it the way that you're talking about, where this 95-year-old man has walked into the gladiatorial arena.
And come out successful.
Right.
Yeah. Come out a victor.
Yes, with the heads of all the other environmentalists on a stick.
Right.
You know? That's what they call them when they put it's a stick, a pike.
Yeah, Peter Liu in the live studio audience said if there's ever a universe war, he's the one that we're sending. He is our champion.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. A giant spaceship will come in the middle of the night and say, David Attenborough, you have been chosen. You will fight for the fate of the Earth.
Right.
And he's like, oh dear. I suppose I will then.
Vampire Anarchy said DiCaprio does all those environmental documentaries, and what did he get? 20-year-old girlfriends mostly?
Yeah, that's what he was basically in it for. You know? He was basically in it for 20-year-old girlfriends.
But congratulations to Sir David Attenborough, and thanks for all you do for the planet.
Yay.
That's pretty cool. Congrats, champ.
Yeah, they have a bunch of cute quotes from kids about how he changed their life and stuff like that, and it's very lovely. So there you go. There's your one good thing to end the day on. We have a champion. He has been decided.
The champion we deserve.
The avatar is David Attenborough.
I did drop a link to this in our Discord if you want to go and read some of that for a little extra good news boost for the rest of your day.
Yeah, and hey, if you want a little bit more news from us, remember, we are going to be coming right back here for our patrons immediately after this show. There's going to be a little clip coming up a little later on this morning, so be on the lookout for that. Join the Patreon if that sounds exciting for you, or if it just sounds exciting to help support us as a network.
Starts at $5 a month. And Twitch takes more than Patreon does of money. Hey, let's go through because holy shit, we just hit that fucking goal!
Hey!
Pew, pew, pew.
I'm making the air horn and then doing the truck horn.
Okay, yeah, that's okay.
That's why I'm not the champion of the earth. David Attenborough would know the difference.
He would know the difference. You're absolutely correct. I'm going to start down at the bottom here because I always scroll past it. Lots of kittens for 13 months. Thank you very much. Should we do this right now or should we have done other things first? I'm already doing it. Thank you to everybody who supported us during the show today.
You know what we do want to do first?
What?
Hey, tonight, 7 p.m.
You're so right.
It is the season finale of Failed Save, our live play D&D 5e show, one of them on the network. And it is it's a big one. It's a big season finale, everybody. So if you are not yet caught up, catch those VODs. Get yourself up to speed before tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific time because big things is gonna happen.
If I'm honest, it hit me this morning and I got a little bit sad.
I felt very intensely about it too.
Okay. I'm a little sad.
I felt very intensely. God, I can't spoil it. Can I spoil the thing? No, I can't spoil the thing.
It's been a few weeks now.
It's been a few weeks. You have a new character. The death of your character really hit me. Dazzle was my friend.
Dazzle is still your friend.
I know. But she's my dead friend in the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, she is.
So it's
Sorry for the spoiler.
So it's a big evening for us. We hope that you join us. I'm probably gonna do a little dressing up tonight.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I might do a little dressing up tonight.
That'll be fun.
We'll see. But yeah, so catch that right here. Follow if you haven't, so you get that going live notification.
That's
and also,
live at 7 p.m. Pacific.
Do it. Watch the show. Okay, that's the big one that we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And now we want to thank all y'all for all of your support during the show. Remember, this is just the people who have supported us directly during this show. We know that so many of you support us in so many other ways, sharing episodes, joining the Discord. Maybe you've donated previously, subscribed. We appreciate you and we love you, but we're going to call out these people who just did a little something for us just right now.
You're very cool. We love you. Lots of Kittens for 13 months said thank you for a spooky 13 months of the best and only news show around. Anthony and Saige, keep being awesome.
That's a Pixel Circus year, baby.
Nightcrawler666 with a 9-month resub. Thank you so very much. C. Dantino for 2 months using your Prime sub as well, taking a little money from the Beezy. Corling's Cosplay for 6 months said happy 8 a.m. everybody, and with you.
And also to you.
Not the real Dan Lynch, gifting a sub to Mostly Megan. Thank you so very much. Thunder Cabbage with the bits. King Sassafras with the 420 donation said thanks for being the best and only morning news show on the interwebs. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You too.
So Katrina for the 14 months. That is so many months.
We think you like us.
Cyber Gamer 92 with a 5-month Prime sub. Thank you for taking some money from the Beezy. Elias El Kafi with the 14 months said, oh, hi.
Oh, hi.
And with
and
you.
And also to you.
Ronan, you don't have to do this, said late nice number, and also Sugar Breakfast with a very generous donation and also a very good mod, very good person. Thank you very much.
You knock it off, Ronan.
Gina Marie D with a 3-month resub. Thank you for coming back for another month. Emily Green with a $20 said, love y'all. Have a fantastic day. And we love you too.
And also with you.
54 Aqua Snakes with a $29 said, congrats on the Kickstarter. Thank you very much. The Baines Break Indiegogo has officially ended. Thank you. DeBearju with 1331 said, that nice percentage. So nice. V Squared with the resub for 14 months. Thank you very much. Kaylin Roar with the very generous $100 donation. My goodness, Kaylin Roar, you don't have to do all that. And Not Cheyenne also with $100 and then an additional 17, finishing out the goal. Holy shit, y'all. Jeebus.
To you, you little pickle pals.
Jeebus.
Thank you so much for everything. And there's Lyco Loco with that last moment resub.
Thank you.
Thank you all
incredible.
So much.
We love you so much. Thank you for starting your morning with us. As always, we do the show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, except for next week when it's just Monday and Friday. We love you very much, and we'll see you over on the Patreon if you're there, or we'll see you tonight at 7 o'clock. Anthony, where else will they see you?
Everywhere on the internet at Carboni, except for here on Twitch, where I'm at Anthony Carboni. Twitch, you cowards, it's mine. Give it back to me. Saige?
You can find me everywhere on the internet at Not Saige. I stream on my channel, but mostly on this one. Goodbye, friends.
Goodbye.